On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
That was final thought, Sean.
I think we are not taught. Yeah, because we are not taught. We are taught to penny pinch. We are taught to hold on to our dollars.
But
it's the same example. Wait. It's the same example Anton made when he was talking about Hammetrek and Highland, right? He was saying in one part of Detroit, you can't even get people to pick up the trash in their own neighborhoods.
Nope.
What is that indicative? What is that indicative?
Okay, but picking up the trash, that's a whole different conversation. No,
it's not.
Yes, it is, because think about it.
It's
a different conversation.
Same mindset.
The reason that it's a different conversation is because you're trying to lump all these things in. You're trying to lump people's inability and lack of resources to contribute something to somebody not picking up trash. These are just not the same thing.
Definitely after hours. I'll table it for after hours, Kay.
Okay, please.
Oh, yes.
Please.
Please do.
Okay. But he said, and that school has long since been abandoned. Like, y'all know how Chicago is. It's one of the most segregated cities. And so Leo used to be predominantly white Catholic school. When I was coming up, 80s, 90s, or whatever, it, migrated predominantly black. The thing that he was telling me is that the reason why that school still stands and like Academy of Our Lady doesn't is because they have alumni that graduated in the 50s and 60s that still contribute to that school. And they have a multi-million-dollar surplus in their budget every year because it's ingrained in them. And these are blue collar workers. These aren't multi-CEO millionaire. These just blue collar workers. If it's $10 a month, $20 a month. Anton talked about being, the Jesuit Cubs, U of D, Jesuit Cub for the rest of his life because of what they instilled in him. And because of what they instilled in him, that compels him to make a donation regardless. Now, my question to you, Anton, and I'm assuming, is that regardless of whether you were a millionaire or not, you would still find a way to contribute to your alma mater.
1000%. And as a matter of fact, interestingly enough, I found that the people that actually spend their time and resources contributing one way or another, honestly, and I don't have any data to correlate this or anything like that, but I found that they tend to be the most successful people
because it puts you in a different.
And I'm not talking about they got there and then start contributing. You don't get somewhere and then start to get a giving mindset. Most of the time, you just become more of what you already are.
But you can't assume that people who are not giving to where you think they should be giving are not giving. Like, I give a lot of money away. I always have for like.
Well, I'm not talking about you personally.
I mean, in general, I'm just saying you can't, like, I don't give to my university. And when I graduated, I used to think, oh, once I, make it, then I'll start giving. I say absolutely not. This is not where I want to put my money. But I didn't go to an HBCU. And like the study said, people who go to HBCUs feel more like emotionally connected, like they felt like the professors cared about them. I can't say one professor at the college I went to that I believe took a personal interest in me.
But then that leads to Anton's other question, though, Ash. If that's the case, then why aren't they giving more to sustain the legacy of that alma mater? In other words, why did Morris Brown happen? Now, I could say Morris Brown happened because of the leadership there, but by and large, if the alumni was involved and there were systems in place, Morris Brown wouldn't have happened like it did. And a lot of these HBCUs are begging for money, right? So,
yeah, they do.
So you're actually playing into his point, which is what he was saying. If that's the case, and I agree with you, I do know people I know people, and I think you and I both would agree on this, Ash. We know people that love their HBCUs when it's homecoming. Everything outside of homecoming, I don't know nothing, but when October roll around, I'm finna relive, I'm finna stroll on the yard and stump the yard and whatever else happens on the yard, right? But when it comes to sustaining the legacy of that school, honestly, in HBCUs, we don't see, by and large, people contributing.
Well, HBCUs are usually smaller. Let's not act like they're the same size as some of these other schools. They're just not.
HBCUs specifically, or schools.
I'm talking about HBCUs.
If a school has more students, it is more likely. But what does it matter?
Well, you're playing the law of averages, is what you're saying. So you're saying on
if
average,
if a school has 1,000
at
people,
all.
If a school has 1,000 people, and I'm not saying this is the right proportions, I'm just saying, if a school has 1,000 people and another one has 10,000, like there's probably going to be more.
But what I'm saying, Kay, to your point,
and
right,
public schools get more funding than private ones.
Because you just said like Harvard, the Yales, the Princeton's had 100-year head start. Okay, cool. I'll give you that, right? So when we look at most HBCUs, they're centennial now, right? Most of them was founded in the 1800s. How much alumni came through those groups, right? Those
Again,
families.
To my point that I was making earlier about the ability to be able to do that. Think about why HBCUs were even created.
Well, hey, we just went over the stats that they are doing fairly well.
Yeah, but they're going to compare.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's telling. I don't think it means the universities are bad and not preparing people, but I ain't trying to tell nobody where to spend their money, but something's going on that they're not donating.
I think it's
money
cultural.
back. They are capable, okay? You don't have to be a multimillionaire to give back.
No, you don't.
If you're a physician, like, or you work for a Fortune 500 company and you have a higher level position, you can give something.
Right, I agree. But the thing is that most people from any school aren't physicians or Fortune 500 like CEOs. That's just for any school. So with that being the case, at a smaller school where there would be a likelihood of even less, let's say a certain school, a certain amount of doctors or CEOs or whatever, came from there. At a bigger school, more would come from there, generally speaking. So
I disagree, Kay.
It makes sense that if more money is being made by the people that went to a certain school, that more money would be given back by those same people. What do you disagree with?
Yeah, because I think you're talking about the law of averages. Like if more people went and then they would by and large, I think it's a cultural thing.
So do you think? Are you saying that you think?
Final thoughts, Sean.
I think
Can
we
you
are
explain
not
what you mean by
taught.
culturally?
Yeah, because we are not taught. We are taught to penny pinch. We are taught to hold on to our dollars.
But
it's the same example. Wait. It's the same example Anton made when he was talking about Hammetrek and Highland, right? He was saying in one part of Detroit, you can't even get people to pick up the trash in their own neighborhoods.
Nope.
What is that indicative?
Okay, but picking up the trash, that's a whole different conversation.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, because think about it.
It's
a different conversation.
It's the same mindset.
The reason that it's a different conversation is because you're trying to lump all these things in. You're trying to lump people's inability and lack of resources to contribute something to somebody not picking up trash. These are just not the same thing.
Definitely after hours. I'll table it for after hours, Kay.
Okay, please.
Oh, yes.
Please.
Please do.
Okay.